The night was silent. Too silent. Ayo sat in her apartment, staring at her phone. The image of Mama Ema at the shrine refused to leave her mind. What does she mean by true power? What is she planning? A loud bang on the door startled her. Her heart jumped. She grabbed her phone and stood slowly. Another bang. "Who's there?" she called out, her voice shaky. Silence. Then, a low chuckle. It was deep, raspy, almost inhuman. Ayo froze. The air in her apartment felt wrong. She took a slow step back. Then, the lights flickered. Her phone screen glitched. Her body shivered. Something was very, very wrong. She grabbed her car keys and bolted out through the back door, her heart pounding like a drum. She needed to get to Mama Bisi now. Mama Ema stood in front of Baba Yaga, her body covered in sweat and dust. The old herbalist sat on a wooden stool, his eyes glowing in the dark. "So, you have failed," he said, his voice like a whisper in the wind. Mama Ema fell to her knees. "Please, Baba. They have ruined me. My restaurant is gone. My name is destroyed. I need your help." Baba Yaga smiled. His teeth were yellow, rotting. "I warned you, Mama Ema. Power is not free. You used the golden pot, but you forgot the rule." Mama Ema's breath hitched. "Rule? What rule?" Baba Yaga's smile widened. "The pot must never be exposed. Once the secret is revealed, it must be fed." Mama Ema's blood ran cold. "Fed? Fed with what?" Baba Yaga's eyes darkened. "With the one who betrayed it." The realization hit her like a slap. The pot wanted a sacrifice. A big one. And she knew exactly who to give. Mama Ema stood, her eyes burning with madness. "Ayo, Mama Bisi, they will pay for this." Baba Yaga nodded, handing her a small black bottle. "Use this. When they breathe it in, they will be under your control. And then, you will feed the pot." Mama Ema took the bottle, her hands trembling. The night wind howled around her as she whispered, "It's time for revenge." Ayo finally reached Mama Bisi's restaurant. The moment she saw her friend, she grabbed her shoulders. "Mama Bisi, we are in danger. Mama Ema is not done. I think she—" Suddenly, a gust of wind rushed through the restaurant, knocking down plates and cups. The air grew thick, heavy. Mama Bisi gasped for breath. Ayo's eyes widened. "Do you smell that?" Mama Bisi nodded, her head dizzy. Ayo tried to speak, but her throat tightened. She couldn't breathe. She staggered, her vision blurred. Then, a shadowy figure stepped into the restaurant. It was her, Mama Ema. She stood at the entrance, smiling. In her hand, the black bottle. "I told you," she whispered. "Now you will feed the pot." Ayo's body collapsed. Darkness swallowed her whole. Ayo struggled to breathe. The air felt like fire in her lungs. Her vision blurred, her knees buckled, and the world spun around her. Mama Bisi was gasping too, clutching her chest, her legs shaking like a leaf in the wind. Mama Ema stepped closer, her eyes burning with madness. "You thought you could expose me," she whispered, tilting her head. "You thought you could ruin me? Now you will pay." Ayo's mind raced. Her body felt weak, but she knew, if she collapsed, it was over. Then, a loud crash. The door to Mama Bisi's restaurant burst open. Fresh air rushed in. The smoke swirled, scattering in different directions. And standing in the doorway, Jide, the young man from the market, the one who had always suspected something wasn't right with Mama Ema's food. He had seen them sneaking behind Mama Ema's kitchen. He had seen the fear in their eyes earlier that day. So, he had followed them. Now he stood at the door, holding a small electric fan. He switched it on high power. The wind rushed into the room, blowing the thick air away. Ayo gasped, her lungs suddenly free. Mama Bisi coughed violently but managed to stand. Mama Ema's face twisted in horror. "No!" she shrieked, grabbing the black bottle. She tried to release more of the powder, but Jide rushed forward. Before she could react, he kicked the bottle out of her hand. It flew across the room and shattered against the wall. Ayo didn't waste a second. With every ounce of strength left in her body, she grabbed a stool and swung it at Mama Ema. Crash! The woman staggered back, her eyes wide in shock. Mama Bisi, still coughing, grabbed a bucket of water and flung it at her. Splash! Mama Ema screamed as the water soaked her, making her dress cling to her thin, bony frame. She looked nothing like the powerful, confident woman from before. She looked defeated, broken, weak. Ayo stepped forward, her hands trembling with anger. Your evil has ended today, Mama Ema. Mama Ema's chest heaved. Her lips trembled, but suddenly, she grinned. It was slow, creepy, like she knew something they didn't. You think this is over? She whispered. Jide clenched his fists. Your charms are gone, old woman. You're finished. Mama Ema laughed. Then, she turned and ran. Like a shadow slipping through the night, she darted out of the restaurant, disappearing into the darkness. By morning, the news had spread like wildfire. Everywhere, WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. The video of Mama Ema pouring her disgusting powder into the food had gone viral. People couldn't stop talking about it. The entire city was in shock. How could we have been eating that? I feel sick just thinking about it. She must be caught. Mama Ema's restaurant was burned to the ground by angry customers. The police launched a massive manhunt to track her down. But she was nowhere to be found. Some people said she had left the city. Others whispered that she had returned to the forest, back to Baba Yaga. But one thing was certain. Ayo, Mama Bisi, and Jide had won the battle. For now, Ayo stood at her office window, staring at the sky. She had gotten thousands of new subscribers. People wanted to hear more of her investigations. Her videos were trending worldwide. She should have been happy. But something didn't feel right. Every night, she had the same dream. A dark forest, a golden pot, and a voice. You thought you won. I am still watching. Ayo shivered. She didn't know where Mama Ema was, but she knew one thing. This was far from over. Ayo sat in her office, scrolling through her phone. It had been a month since Mama Ema disappeared. The market was finally at peace. Mama Bisi's restaurant was flourishing, customers trooping in like never before. Everything seemed normal. Until that night, the wind howled through the marketplace, rattling empty stalls. Ayo was asleep in her small apartment when a sharp knock jolted her awake. Who could be knocking at this hour? She checked her phone, 2:45 a.m. A chill crawled down her spine. The knock came again, louder. She swallowed hard and tiptoed to the door. Who is there? She asked, her voice shaky. No answer. Just silence. Then, a low, raspy whisper from the other side of the door. You thought you won. Ayo's blood ran cold. She staggered back, her breathing heavy. It was her. Mama Ema. She was back. And she sounded different. Darker. Stronger. Suddenly, a loud bang. Ayo screamed. The door flew open on its own. A shadow drifted in. Not walking. Not crawling. Floating. Mama Ema stepped into the dim light, her eyes glowing red. Her skin was pale and wrinkled like she had aged 100 years overnight. But her smile was terrifying. I told you this is far from over. At that exact moment, Mama Bisi jerked awake in her room. Her body was soaked in sweat. She had been dreaming, but not a normal dream. She had seen Mama Ema standing over her, whispering something in an ancient language. And now, she could still hear the whispers, but they weren't in her head anymore. They were coming from inside her room. Slowly, she turned her head, and her heart stopped. There, in the corner, Mama Ema stood, her long bony fingers stretched toward her. You stole my customers. Mama Bisi tried to scream, but her voice failed her. Mama Ema tilted her head, a wicked grin on her cracked lips. Now I will take your soul. Suddenly, a flash of movement, a loud crash. Mama Ema screeched as a strong force tackled her to the ground. Jide, the young market boy, had been watching from outside. He had seen the shadowy figure slip into Mama Bisi's house and knew something was wrong. Jide grabbed a wooden chair and swung it at Mama Ema. Crack! She let out an inhuman shriek, her body twisting unnaturally. You cannot stop me, she howled, crawling toward them like a spider. Jide grabbed Mama Bisi's hand. Run! They dashed out of the house, breathing heavily, the echoes of Mama Ema's laugh chilling the night. Ayo and Mama Bisi sat in Jide's small house, shaking with fear. She's back! Ayo whispered, her voice trembling. Mama Bisi held her head in her hands. She's not just back, she's stronger. Jide paced. We have to stop her. Ayo looked at him. How? Jide stopped pacing. Then, he said the one thing they feared the most. We have to go, to where she got her powers. Mama Bisi's eyes widened. You mean? Baba Yaga. Ayo's stomach twisted. No one spoke of Baba Yaga, the evil man who lived deep in the Black Forest. The one who gave Mama Ema her charms. But it was the only way. They had to destroy her power from the source. That night, under the pale moonlight, Ayo, Jide, and Mama Bisi crept toward the Black Forest. The air was thick. The trees swayed, whispering secrets. And deep inside, something was waiting, watching, listening. Ayo's hands shook as she clutched Jide's arm. Are you sure about this? She whispered. Jide didn't answer. Because the moment they stepped into the forest, the trees came alive, branches twisted like arms, roots slithered like snakes, and in the distance, a low, eerie laugh. Welcome, a voice whispered from the shadows. I've been expecting you. The night was thick with tension as Mama Ema emerged from the darkness, more sinister and powerful than ever. Her return was not silent. Whispers of dread carried through the market long after the chaos of that fateful day. Now, she had come bearing a vengeance fueled by forbidden charms and the dark arts of Baba Yaga. Ayo sat in her apartment, unable to shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Earlier that night, a strange chill had crept through the air, and her phone had buzzed with a cryptic message. You exposed me, but this is only the beginning. The words echoed in her mind like a death knell. She felt that icy dread again as she watched the shadows dance across her walls. Meanwhile, Mama Bisi lay awake in her small room, haunted by the memory of Mama Ema's ghastly smile and the sound of her eerie laughter. The marketplace, once her sanctuary, now pulsed with anxiety. Rumors of a cursed force had begun to spread once more. And deep in the night, unknown to them, Jide's vigilant eyes had never left the scene. At the stroke of midnight, while the city slept, Mama Ema stepped out into the deserted streets. Clad in a long, tattered cloak that seemed to absorb the moonlight, her eyes burned with a red intensity as if lit from within. She moved like a phantom toward the heart of the Black Forest, the source of her newfound power. Every step she took pulsed with a dark rhythm, and the very ground seemed to tremble beneath her feet. Back at Mama Bisi's restaurant, Ayo and Mama Bisi huddled together, trying to decipher the ominous signs. A sudden knock at the door sent their hearts racing. It was Jide. His face was grave, his eyes wide with worry. He had been spying ever since he sensed that Mama Ema's disappearance was only temporary. In hushed, urgent tones, he recounted the strange happenings, the unnatural chill, the inexplicable whispers in the wind, and his own discovery of eerie symbols carved on a wall near the market entrance. We must act, Jide said, his voice trembling yet determined. Mama Ema's gathering power. I saw her heading to the Black Forest. We cannot let her unleash her dark charms on us again. Ayo's pulse thundered in her ears. But how do we stop her this time? She asked, eyes darting between Mama Bisi's anxious face and Jide's resolute gaze. Mama Bisi gripped Ayo's hand. We must follow her trail, she whispered. Before her powers grow too great, we have to confront her and break the curse she wields. They decided to meet at dawn at the edge of the Black Forest. As the first light of day crept over the horizon, the trio, Ayo, Mama Bisi, and Jide, set off into the eerie woods. The trees loomed overhead like ancient sentinels, their twisted branches clawing at the pale sky. Every rustle of leaves sent shivers down their spines as they navigated narrow, winding paths. The forest was alive with secrets. Faint, ghostly voices murmured in a language older than time. A chill wind whispered warnings that tangled with the beating of their hearts. And all the while, a subtle, sinister energy pulsed in the dark soil beneath their feet, as if the very earth anticipated their confrontation with evil incarnate. In a clearing shrouded in mist, they finally saw her, Mama Ema. Standing before an altar of ancient stones, she chanted softly. In one hand, she clutched a blackened chalice. In the other, she held aloft a vial filled with a swirling, ominous powder, the essence of her renewed power. The atmosphere was electric, charged with malevolence. Her eyes glowed like burning coals as she invoked incantations that sent ripples of dark energy through the clearing. Ayo's heart pounded fiercely. She could feel the oppressive aura of dark magic pressing in on them. Mama Bisi's face was etched with fear and determination, while Jide's eyes burned with a fierce resolve to protect his friends. They knew that any misstep now could mean doom not just for them, but for everyone in the market. Just as Mama Ema's incantation reached a fevered pitch, a sudden commotion broke the tense silence. A loud rustling erupted from the dense undergrowth. Jide had spotted movement behind a clump of trees. Before anyone could react, a shadowy figure lunged forward, colliding with Mama Ema. It was Ayo, who, despite her fear, had mustered the courage to confront the dark force head-on. Ayo's intervention was swift. With a cry fueled by both terror and defiance, she hurled herself at Mama Ema, trying to wrest the vial from her grasp. In that instant, chaos exploded in the clearing. Dark magic clashed with raw human determination, and the very air shimmered with the force of their struggle. Mama Ema's power surged, sending a shockwave of malevolent energy outward, but Jide's timely intervention, a fierce push, a desperate shout, brought Ayo back to her senses. Together, Ayo and Jide managed to disrupt the deadly ritual, their combined bravery igniting a spark of hope amid the encroaching darkness. The encounter was raw and terrifying, filled with desperate struggles, shattered chants, and the piercing sound of incantations colliding with human resolve. As the dark powder scattered into the mist, Mama Ema's eyes flickered with both fury and a twisted sense of triumph. Though thwarted for the moment, she did not fall. Instead, with a final, chilling laugh, she melted back into the shadows of the forest, vowing retribution. Breathing heavily in the eerie silence that followed, Ayo, Mama Bisi, and Jide clung to one another. Their hearts still raced with adrenaline and fear, but also with the unyielding determination that they had survived another night of terror. They knew that Mama Ema's return had only just begun. A battle between ancient dark powers and the fragile light of human courage was underway. And this was only the beginning of a war that would captivate the city, leaving viewers desperate to know what happens next. The market of Abema was never the same after that night. Fear clung to the air like a curse, thick and suffocating. Traders whispered in hushed voices, glancing over their shoulders as if expecting shadows to come alive. Some refused to sell at all, afraid that even touching food could doom them. Mama Ema had vanished, but her presence lingered like the smell of something rotting beneath the earth. No one dared to say it aloud, but everyone felt it. She would return. And when she did, Abema would never be the same again. Ayo sat by her window, unable to sleep. The flickering light of her bedside lamp cast long, eerie shadows on the walls. She replayed the scene in the forest over and over in her mind. The dark altar, the swirling powder, the unnatural glow in Mama Ema's eyes. Her fingers trembled as she scrolled through her phone. The video had gone viral. 100,000 views. 150,000 views. Comments flooded in. This can't be real. I always knew something was wrong with her food. OMG, people died because of this woman? Ayo should have felt victorious, but her stomach churned with unease. Something wasn't right. She could feel it in her bones. A knock at her door made her jump. Her heart pounded against her ribs. Who would visit at this hour? She tiptoed toward the door, pressing her ear against it. Silence. She held her breath. Then, a whisper. Ayo, open the door. Ayo's blood ran cold. The voice was faint, almost distant, but she recognized it instantly. It was Mama Ema. Her hands clenched into fists. It's impossible. I saw her run into the forest. I hope you enjoyed the part 3 of the story which you have just watched. And if yes, what are the lessons you can craft from the story? Let's discuss them in the comments section. Please do like my video. Share to as many people as possible. Also, don't forget to subscribe to support my channel. Do hit the notification bell to keep you informed when I upload the part 4 of this story. Thank you for watching. Until we meet again, keep watching and stay connected.